Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird, true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 632, written by John Jackman, 1029, 30 Reasons to Never Smoke at Night. One night, I was over at my buddy's house, and we were watching TV. Being bored out of our damn minds for a few hours, we decided to go out for another cigarette or two. As we got outside, we realized that the weather had cleared up. It was sometime in August, so it was warm enough to just hang out and sit outside the window and mess about for a while. After an hour or so, I look at my watch and it's 1:03 a.m. and that's later than I thought it was, so I verify with my phone. I look at my friend and say something along the lines of, "Holy hell, it's already 1:03. Where did the time go?" We just go back to talking and smoking, and 5 or 6 cigarettes later, I look at my watch again. It reads 1 a.m.? This confuses me greatly, as you can imagine. Keep in mind I have a quality analog watch, so it's incapable of adjusting to daylight savings time, which starts in March and ends in November anyways, let alone the date when there's only 30 days in a month, and it wouldn't roll back. Regardless, at this time, I think my watch has malfunctioned, so I look at my phone. It also reads 1 a.m. I told my friend to check his phone. He pulled it out and the look on his face was very concerning. We just sat there and looked at each other in utter confusion, and we were kind of freaked out, especially because we confirmed with each other that it was definitely 1:03 a.m. earlier, and that we'd been chain smoking for at least another half hour. We pondered it for a while, and eventually wrote it off as one of the universe's many mysteries. To this day, I cannot even begin to explain it. Case notes, file number 632. Time resets are probably not related to aliens when you're moving back in time. You'd have lost time forward if it was an abduction, lack of memories of what transpired. By your description, there was nothing in the air, no charge or anything. I recall a case from about a month back where 2 people were in their living room and then a charge in the air crackled. Something they felt so spectacularly strongly just suddenly appeared. Then time was reset for them a few hours back. Whatever happened in your case had no sensation at all. Does this mean there are multiple methods to travel back in time? Or was it instead a perception glitch? Strikes me more as a latter, to be honest. Messing with time backwards, if truly possible, strikes me as something that would require immense energy. You couldn't do it to someone else without them realizing beforehand that something extreme is happening. Although you did go back in time much less than the other group. Only 30 minutes, not multiple hours. Maybe that does mean there's less energy required. Still, I'm sure you would have felt something beforehand. As far as what could cause perception loss like this, you are only smoking cigarettes, which aren't supposed to induce hallucinations. It can't be a mechanical and electronic glitch at the same time, with your watch and your phone reading the wrong time. Besides, you'd have realized afterwards that it was a tech glitch. So the odds of that are astronomical, that it somehow glitched out and then fixed itself on both your watch and your phone, and your friend's phone too. Case file number 633, written by Angel. The Man from the Void. I was on probation and not supposed to be smoking, but one day I caved in. I was home alone around lunchtime. I got high and it felt amazing after such a long break. I was listening to the Brockhampton Gold music video on MTV. It felt so surreal. I would get somewhat paranoid around this time, going beyond just probation. I would check the windows and garage sometimes to make sure no one had come home so that I could be assured of my privacy. I went to the living room to peek out the curtains and saw a man standing in the middle of the road. Where my house was is a dead end, so not a very busy area. Only someone lost or looking to make a U-turn or someone living around there should ever be passing by the house. He was just standing there in the middle of the street, in the middle of the giant living room window. He was facing towards the window. He wore a bright orange vest. I was a little spooked out, but figured he was a PG&E worker or something. I didn't see a car around though. I quietly walked back to my room. I crept back to the kitchen, which also had a window facing out towards the same street, and peeked out of the blinds. The man was still there, just standing. Yet this time, he had moved over to his left, now directly in front of the kitchen window. I instantly and quickly went back to my room. I thought and thought about it, without any answers or conclusions or peace of mind. The second I began to forget about it and truly relax, I heard the doorbell. You cannot mistake this doorbell. I believe I also heard the dogs we had barking. I hesitated for the slightest of moments as I put on some pants. I went to the living room to open the door, and as I opened the wooden door and looked through the metal screen gate, I saw the soles of 2 shoes walking away down the driveway. I did not choose to say anything or follow. I peeked out of the windows, blinds, and curtains to see if there was a worker nearby or any sign of a worker's car, or anyone's car, or anything active. But there was simply no one there, and no indication of how anyone could have gotten there. Creepy file number 22. Written by No Syllabub 4264. How a tiny 5-foot girl prevented a burglary. Listening to stories at work made me remember this one occasion back in 2008 or 2009 when I probably scared the crap out of a possible burglar. I lived in an area with lots of damage to livestock by wild animals, and tanning and hunting are normal hobbies here. I have straight, very long hair which hangs over my face if not tied up. That day, my hair was loosened from my braid and covered most of my face. I, at this point 20 to 21 years old, female, lived alone in a big 2-story house next to a busy road. There was a farm hall next door that had lots of large equipment and machinery standing outside. I often had strange people walking around thinking I owned them, which I didn't. I was a poor student renting a cheap farmhouse. I had just started learning to tan leather and fur and got a raccoon dog under work. It had been shot after killing farm animals, not for the fur. I got it to practice. It was too warm summer for this, and the skin had started to smell bad very quickly, so my sense of humor was kind of on its last brink. I had several knives to try, starting from the biggest possible, of course. I was tiny, 5 foot tall and skinny. Working with carcasses took a lot of strength. While trying to hurry, I saw a white van stop on a bus stop along the road. A lone man came out and walked right through my shrubs towards me and tried with broken English to tell me he had to get inside. I'm not in an English-speaking country, and this is quite a known trick scammers use to find valuables to steal later, so I got scared. My door was unlocked and I didn't want him to go inside, but had no way of stopping him if he tried. In my panicking mode, I just stared at him from under my long, greasy and sweaty hair and kept skinning the smelly carcass while keeping eye contact as well as I could. He stuttered that his phone died and he needed to charge it. I took my oversized knife and with it I pointed at an outlet right behind him on the outer wall, never said a word, and kept cleaning off the skin. The guy let his phone charge for a while, called someone very fast in a language I didn't recognize, and went to his van. Again, walking right through my shrubs that I had had problems keeping alive. In a short moment, he came back with an empty bottle, saying he needed water for the broken car. Again, without speaking, I pointed at a tap on the outer wall, using the knife like a finger, staring all the time and kept skinning. He took some water and went to his car again. Third time he came back, just to ask if he could wait inside for a friend to pick him up, as his car was done for. I didn't say a word, just shook my head while cleaning and now finally loosening the skin. He stood there for a moment, then said he'll just wait in the car. I nodded for a goodbye and kept working, noticing his stare on my knife before he walked away. After 10 or so minutes, the van sped away. I finally took a long breath and hoped that the guy was too focused on my knife to understand I was terrified, having heard in the news of a foreign burglar trying to get to people's houses and driving a white van. Now thinking it from his point of view, driving around in a foreign country, stopping to do some work, and meeting this tiny woman in dirty clothes and long hanging dirty hair, skinning a smelly raccoon dog with an oversized knife, probably looking like the girl in The Grudge. In his shoes, I wouldn't have come back either after the first attempt.